Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the final episode of fan fiction. Final, you say? What? The story is just getting started. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. Um, well, the first is this was only ever a test for me to see whether or not a play-by-post was even a possibility in this day and age to do. Given how much time and effort I actually spend running and maintaining things. As it turns out, I apologize about the sound, by the way. I have two dogs in the house today, and they're going fucking ballistic over each other. As it turns out, running a game like this is actually, on the daily, is actually pretty heavy on my workload. So that's one of the reasons, but the main reason why is because one of the things I was unprepared for, and the one thing that no one ever tells you about when you become a GM for a play-by-post, is that it's very different from actually GMing a normal game. Having said that, things like being able to, because what I get out of being a GM is I get a distinct pleasure of directing a story. And helping the players weave amazing stories on that end. Having said that, there is no GMing in this game. It's more reacting to individual players' wants and wills. And there were a couple of times in this game when people took the initiative, which is what you should be doing in a play-by-post. And honestly speaking, it was it ran very counter to what I wanted the story to actually be. And then it was at that moment that I kind of realized that I didn't really have any bearing too much as to what actually happened in the story. I could affect NPCs, which the players literally had no care or want to interact with. And I think the players themselves even tried to treat it as what you would a normal role-playing game, which is, fair, considering that I was also treating it like a standard role-playing game. So because of that, I've decided to end the game before too many people get burnt out on it, and myself included. So what we're going to do today is we're going to read the final actions of the players that decided to, sunset their character alongside with the game. And then we're going to wind it up. So, yeah. I guess for the final time we need to do initiative, right? Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, we can just go ahead and do it. From the top down. It's not so bad like that. So let's start with Olga. I think I'm gonna need a drink of water for this. Why do I always need a drink of water for this? It's the morning for me, so maybe that's what it is. Alright. Olga wakes up on a massive slab covered in water. She looks around, but there is little to see due to the bluish fog. Okay. A girl sees something overglowing in the yellowish in the distance. Olga starts approaching to it, climbing over a huge staircase with giant steps. Olga moved with difficulty. Sometimes the water reached her thighs. Okay. On the height stood a female figure in a golden robe with wings, folded wings on her back. The woman covered her face with her hands, and Olga hears only how she silently cries. Why are you crying? Are you suffering? From those words, the figure hunched over even more. Olga realized that the salt water rises even more. A huge hand lifted the girl from the water and brings her to the woman's face. Yes, child, I am suffering. I see your suffering. It hurts me. I'm not able to help you, but it is inevitable for someone like us. Suffering purifies the soul. Anxiety teaches tolerance. And fatal blows teach to enjoy life, and they tried to protect you from it. They thought it must be the right path, but they were wrong. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. You listen to them diligently, and you turn into a husk of yourself. You didn't want to be in chains. You didn't want that unbearable silence, to rebel, disobey. Do what you think is right. Fire is inside you. It is a light for many, but you must keep its warmth for beloved ones. But you must die now. Die in this form. Burn this shell to the ground and fly. Fly, my phoenix. Sing, burn, hopelessness. Lead the blind behind you. Peck the seeds from enmity in human hearts, and you will die now. The huge hand starts to burn with an unbearable fire, covering the girl's body. Skin cracks like a dry, barren land. In its place, huge feathers grow up. Yaspova smiles. Now instead of her mouth, there is a copper beak. A bird jumps from the hand of the deity. Fly, my phoenix, fly, and bring light to the darkness. You okay, dog? God damn. The red flaming bird flies above the flooded rice fields and disappears in the sky. Why rice fields? When a redhead woman checks out on Olga, she found an empty room. No signs of Olga or her belongings. There is a smell of burning reddish ash scattered around the bed. Okay. I have no idea what the fuck that exit was supposed to be. So, good stuff. All right. So Samuel Davis, aka Heavy Metal Madman. Sammy tried to relax as much as he could in the old cot. He was determined to get out and do some good. Maybe if he impressed the right people, they wouldn't mind him being around. However, his number one concern was getting better. No one needed an injured moron running around. However, it wasn't until boredom began to take hold. I need me that acid. Sammy slithered off the cot and crept to where Danielle was working. Is there something you need, Sammy? He eyed the bag of acid behind us. Yeah, With incredible speed, Sammy snatches the bag and bolts for the door. He could hear the ranger chasing after him. You don't need this, Sammy. He ran out the door and didn't look back. Oh, yes, I do. Sammy ran further into Bay Lane. His bare feet smacked the pavement, hurting with every step. It didn't matter, though. In a few moments, he would take a trip like he'd never been on before. He found an abandoned roller rink to post up in. Behind the counter, he made his play. Sammy opened the bag. This stuff was always pretty low grade, so I'll start off with a few tabs. The first arrow was quiet. It always started slow. As he considered taking more, the walls began to vibrate. Okay, here we go. The night would be long, filled with terrors, both Sammy's past and unusual present. One thing that never crossed the young man's mind, however, was his future. Sammy was an individual incapable of looking forward, only focused on the now. And even through the specters of his past, teared at the fabric of his very mind, he carried on, looking for the next thing to fill the void. What will become of Samuel Davis, the king of Lakeside Drive, the master of the double-triple? Only time would tell. Wow, that's a great exit, actually. I enjoyed that one. That was good. So Rigger, aka Victor von Varus, I guess. Bayland. What a curious town. Curious. Growing every more curiouser and curiouser. Victor smacks. Of course, it takes disaster and mystery to pull the various citizens together into this ramshackle response base. However, seeing as it's clearly the best place to be, and presumably home for the foreseeable future, Victor decides it's best to get to know his surroundings. The best place to learn what a place is truly like is at the bottom. So we'll start there. It's time to meet the people. God damn. Truly, this place will benefit from a showman as well as some light levity and fun. The doom and gloom of the surroundings is merely a facade to the entertainment one can find if one truly looks. The greatest pieces of entertainment throughout history have spawned as a result of tragedy. Even jazz music was created in the wake of such things. It's true. If history was to repeat itself, and this is the hand he had been dealt, then there was no way Victor would pass up the opportunity to be at the forefront of showmanship and the entertainment during the next great tragedy of mankind. Yes, we'll start there. And by the end of the proceedings, the spotlight of the world and the echoing halls of history shall ring with the result of his presence and performance. It's time to literally make history. With a conviction and confidence ringing in his mind, Victor flips his top hat gracefully through the air and lands smoothly on his head. He secures it with a quick and flashy run of his fingers across the brim. With a daring smolder in his eyes and a grin, Victor twirls his cane with style none could match and swaggers off into Balin to make his mark on mankind. Again, that's a fantastic exit. God damn. Where was that pizzazz when you were playing, man? Damn. That's great. That's good stuff. Big Food Stuff, a.k.a. John Stern. That's his last name. Stern. Got it. A.k.a. Big Mac... Oh, God. Forgotten. Mac Papa Squad. I knew it was something ridiculous. God damn. Okay. Where did it go? There it is. After getting told off by the FBI agent, John leaves the area saying, I wonder how many sticks are up her ass. Probably a lot. Walking away determined to find something to do in this two-bit town, he walks until he notices a bar of the sleazy kind. John smirks. Man, do I need a drink right about now? He walks up to the bouncer. He gives John a dirty look. The guy doesn't care enough. And John enters the bar. He walks up to the bartender and says, give me the hardest goddamn mug of green alcohol. The bartender says, hey, if you want to die, don't do it here. Gives him the bottle and a cup. A bottle and a cup? Jesus Christ. I don't know a single bartender in the face of existence that would give a stranger a bottle off the bar straight away, but okay. Oh, well, if you're going to drink it, don't do it here. John smiles, taking the stuff. He grabs $50 from his wallet and gives it to the bartender. Okay, well, that's a little better, I guess. I won't be needing this anytime soon. John pours a mug of green alcohol and grabs the pills. He crushes them over the drink. What the fuck? John takes the mug and starts chugging until he stops moving. Told him to take it out. And then John shoots up and grabs the bartender's head and smashes his skull open on the mug. What? Ah ha 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 ha. Then John proceeds to murder everyone in the bar. I'd like to use Brawl to fight my way through the bar and die doing so. Oh, it was going so good. Okay. Sure. You don't make it very far into the fight before you are overpowered by the extreme power of men being drunk. And you do not die in the bar. You do not die in the bar. You die in captivity. Oh, got him. Got him. Yeah. But you make you fight your way through the bar. You do whatever you need to do. However, being in a bar fight won't kill you. You do wake up in chains, though. And that is how you go. You probably maybe seriously injured a bunch of them. I doubt you murdered anyone, especially with your fists. Unless you were intentionally like breaking necks and stuff like that. But if you just swing your fists around, you probably wouldn't have killed anyone. Alright, Dr. Cirrus, aka Zachary Blackhole. Let's see what you do. Play the hero, play the villain. Either way, there was worse ways to go. At least the last few days were interesting. He saved Chuck and a couple of people on the rim of the storm. It wasn't his normal line of work, but it was oddly satisfying in its own way. People with his talents could do some good in a place like this. Sorry, I got more shit in my throat. It would certainly make him feel better to be at the top though. But smooth upper fed? Shit, this is going to be fun. He knocked on the apartment door, and Rose's annoyed face appeared in the crack of the door. He heard the distinct sound of a metallic thumb being pushed against a wooden door. He bet $50 there was a Glock pointed at his head. Hey, Rose? Yeah? I need to borrow a few things. Rose's place wasn't that bad, all things considered. Zach wondered how long she actually had it. Wendigo seemed more her scene than Balin. Fairly spacious, 2 beds, 2.5 bathrooms. 2.5? What do you have in half of? I guess just the toilet? She's a big place. She done well for herself. Zach tightened the tie that he'd fastened before, loosening it a little. What? Zach tightened the tie he fastened before, loosening it a little. Is that an oxymoron? It was a bad sign to look groomed and clean this hellhole this city turned into. Disheveled and overworked was the name of the game. He did tighten Rose's holster and slip his piece into place. He needed that for no other reason than to look the part. Bad suit, add some dirt, added to the unwashed skin, and a fresh trim looked like he outgrew a police buzz cut. For a fake police officer disguise, he looked the part better than a real one. Maybe one day I'll wear a suit to a party I was actually invited to. We'll see about that. Rose stood in the doorframe and tossed him a new bag filled with more goodies. Nothing would actually dig into her own pocket, of course. There were rules to follow, and he had yet to earn his keep. He sighed. Time to get to work. And with that, Zach opened the door to Balin's great unknown. And last but not least, we have the Blind Watchman, aka Tyler Blackmar. Tyler breaks the fourth wall as well as reality and kills everyone in the end. All right, cool. So, yeah. Friend of mine worked a bar. He had customers who tried that. Unless you paid for the rest of the bottle, you're not getting shit. Yeah. Leave the bottle. It's like, no, man. All right, so now let's divulge a few secrets here. So, basically, the plan was we had a few guesses in the length of the game. Some people thought that the bubble or the storm was like a battle royale, and that the last person alive would be left to leave, and the bubble would get smaller and smaller every couple hours. That is incorrect. Some people thought that it was like supernatural people coming out of the woodwork and eating everything. Also incorrect. What was actually happening was a lot more far-fetched than that. So I concocted this stupid plan, which actually, in my opinion, worked out very well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea of it. So I got a couple of truths here. Truths. The first truth is that aliens have invaded Earth. The natural resources of bipedal mammals capable of manufacturing endorphins. That is what they are after. The creatures from the far reaches of space aim to farm these animals. To do so, they would create isolated pockets of humanity within field domes, massive cosmic energy spheres, in order to create better test subjects. The domes themselves are created from natural elements, so creating scientific solutions is a firm way to avoid being trapped within it, harmful to organic beings, radio equipment, and electronics. The third truth is that aliens will often capture individuals and test them for endorphin levels and release them a day later. And the testing will also involve the best way to retrieve the endorphins from people. which is why a lot of people had their head cuts at the beginning. There is a mothership outside of Earth that is holding Earth hostage within the field domes. Removing that will remove the domes. Outside of the field domes, people are in open warfare with the aliens, being pushed to the back foot due to the large parts of Earth being locked off from each other. If players tried to find a way out of the dome, they'll meet up with resistance fighters. So yeah, that's pretty much the secrets that it is right now. Every single dome, because there's more than one, obviously, they have different experimental qualifications to them. Like, for example, you guys didn't have the constant fear, but there were some of the domes that had, like, they were constantly under barrage of, just weird things like illusions and that sort of stuff. Your one was all about kidnapping and stuff, so your bubble was specifically designed to work out how to best farm the endorphins, which gave players a lot more breathing room, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire thing. I was expecting more people to... I honestly, with the game, I think the biggest thing that kind of ruined it for me was it took so long for you guys to get in a group that my original plan was to offer, like, when you guys got to Baylan, was to offer, like, group incentives to okay, we need to construct defenses. Okay, we need to have people go out and do some science shit and all that sort of stuff. And that's what Agent Mira's role was supposed to be. She was supposed to be like the head honcho and that sort of stuff. But a lot of the players were more interested in sort of telling their own story, which is safe to say. The way that I think everyone wanted the game to go in reality. So it was a strange one to try and GM, and it's not one that I would like. If I was going to GM another one of these, it would have to be my sole focus, 100%. My primary focus is on the actual Die Party games, and right now I'm in the process of trying to set up 2 new Die Party games that I'll be GMing. Honestly, that's kind of the main reason why I couldn't do this anymore, because so much of my excess time goes to making those Die Party games good, setting up all the stuff for that. And honestly speaking, running this at the same time meant that one was suffering, and as it turns out, it was this one. There were times when I even forgot to post, like, the GM turn and stuff like that, because I just didn't have time to do it, based on all the stuff that I had going on. So that's the main reason. So unfortunately, that's just how it goes. I enjoyed my time with this. It was a good experiment. And one of the new games that I'm working on is going to be a open-seated Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition role-playing experience with a light-hearted nature to it, so people can come in and make crazy characters who wear, lion masks and that sort of stuff, and wrestle giant monsters to the ground and stuff like that. You can make characters like that in this game, because I understand that, not everyone wants a serious role-playing experience, so that's what we're going to be doing. I just got to set up one game before I set that one up, and yeah, so keep your eyes open for that. And that'll be a flexible time as well. So, the idea is that we'll find 3 willing participants, and those 3 willing participants will agree on a time with me. And then for the next 3 weeks, they would be socially required to participate, I guess. So if you agree to show up for 1, you show up for 3 episodes, basically. Or at least until the mini campaign is done. Anyways, guys, that's it for fan fiction. At least for the first season. We might bring it back. We might not. It really depends on how much time I have available in the future. But until then, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.